Greeting, ladies and gentlemen. It's the day before Thanksgiving here in the United States of America. Thanksgiving happens to be one of my favorite holidays. Very, very much so, because they can't spoil it with all kinds of other things. Thanksgiving can be about food and family and football, but primarily it's right on. It's about giving thanks to God for what God has done for us. And that's a good thing to celebrate and a good thing to remember, and that's what we try and do. However, it's also a difficult day. A lot of people will be on the road, flying, trying to get home for the holiday, and that can have its good and difficult times. Also, please remember that people tell us that often on Wednesday evening before Thanksgiving, it's a tragic time because thousands and thousands of kids come home from college, their first year back or whatever it might be. And so they're back home and they want to get together with their friends and have a party on Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. Well, unfortunately, some of those parties end very, very sadly as a result of perhaps too much excitement, too much alcohol, and as a result of that, Wednesday night tonight will be a very sad night for a number of families. So we need to pray for thankful safety and a good sense, particularly for our younger people on this day before Thanksgiving. All of those good things from time to time mess things up. And of course, we see the newspaper today and another shooting has taken place among the Thanksgiving shoppers. So, Lord, be with us and help us to celebrate and appreciate what Thanksgiving is all about. Today I'm going to do what I did yesterday, continue on with a tribute to my friend Richard Rohr, who is doing a piece of good work in sharing a couple essays about Thanksgiving. So that's what I'm going to do, and I think you'll find it worthwhile because it's not me. It's me just reporting somebody else. And so let's see how that goes. Because they truly are interesting ideas, and that's the name of the program, and it begins right now.
Tis a gift to be simple. 'Tis a gift to be free.
Well, here we go. Gratitude and generosity. We talked about the importance of gratitude. It's the greatest word, one of the greatest words in the English language. Use it, be it, all the time. Truly not just an attitude of gratitude, but just simply a persona of gratitude. And here's what Pastor Rohr says. Lakota author and activist Doug Goodfeather, I love that name, Doug Goodfeather, is committed to sharing indigenous wisdom and practices with normative, that means just everyday normal audiences, as a way to help and to heal humanity. He writes that no matter what our circumstances, gratitude is available to us all. And it's to help us be more generous. Remember, Thanksgiving could mean that perhaps what we need to do is do some extra giving. And here's what Mr. Goodfeather says. Each and every morning offers us a chance to start anew, fresh, and to begin again. Each morning when we wake, should we choose to listen, is a message from the Creator to remember the privilege we were given of waking up. It's a reminder to get up and prepare ourselves, to honor ourselves, to go out into the world, to connect with Mother Earth and all of the hearts of other beings, to inspire and encourage those who cross our paths, and most importantly, to enjoy life. Well, Goodfeather highlights some more things that comes from his own culture about gratitude and generosity. He says gratitude and generosity are similar virtues, but they differ in that gratitude is an internal characteristic, and generosity is our external expression of our sense of gratitude. Basically, gratitude is how we feel, and generosity is how we express that feeling out into the world. When we engage with the world from a place of gratitude, it's the difference between trying to make something happen and allowing something to happen. The defining difference between effort and effortlessness is the virtue of gratitude. We see the quotes and memes from the sages and gurus that talk about gratitude. But why is gratitude such a core concept of joy, contentment, and well-being in our life? Well, our ancestors tell us there are two primary reasons. The first is that a person cannot exist in a place of fear and true gratitude at the same time. I underline that because, one of my favorite expressions, signature line, is in effect a heart full of gratitude is seldom a fearful heart. A heart full of gratitude is seldom a fearful heart. So he continues. Like you say, it's always nice when you can find people who agree with you, okay? The second is that gratitude is the doorway to divine intuition, which allows us to be guided by our connection to the Creator. Gratitude moves stagnant energy when we're feeling stuck in life. The simple act of practicing gratitude disrupts negative thoughts and changes our mindset to see the world in a positive way. Not only are we more attractive to others when we live in gratitude, but the most ordinary things can become extraordinary, creating a fuller and more beautiful expression of life. Now, ladies and gentlemen, do you see why you need, after you're done with this podcast, to go back and play that and hear that again? Just that last line. Here we go. Okay? Not only are we more attractive to others when we live in gratitude, but the most ordinary things can become extraordinary, creating a fuller and more beautiful expression of our life. My goodness, how wonderful. Interesting ideas passed on by Mr. Goodfeather and Pastor Richard Rohr. But there are more concluding thoughts, but we'll take a little break for you just to maybe take a little 30-second pause to think about those things, and then we'll finish up because I know you're really busy today. I'm Stan Houston. What It Takes Radio is what I do, and interesting ideas is what we talk about. And we'll be right back. Anything clear to you now? Anything challenging you right now? Well, let's continue. You've probably heard the old saying, things don't happen to us, they happen for us. Things don't happen to us, they happen for us. Gratitude is the foundation of that old adage. It means that our mindset has to be that the universe is generally conspiring and working in our favor. May I just stop? I was helping a young man who had had some negativity in his life, and I was helping him to become a better manager because his leader had thought that even though the gentleman had some real difficulties in life and had some things that had gone wrong, he said, I think there's somebody inside of him that could be really good. And after listening to him, I had to go back and I said, Jeff will begin to turn around when he realizes that there is some goodness and benevolence in the universe. That there is a creator who wants good things for Jeff. When that begins to happen, Jeff will change. Well, now that's me taking my time out, but let's get back to the guy who's really smart, okay? As it said, it means that our mindset has to be that the universe is generally conspiring and working in our favor. Frequently, when something that we perceive as bad happens to us, we let it affect us in a highly negative way. But if we interact with the world from a place of gratitude, when something happens that others may perceive as bad, we just see that experience as interesting. We are curious about why something happens the way it does. And in expressing that curiosity, we are actively seeking the part of the experience that we're grateful for. As I passed on one of the principles that changed me deeply, because I've gone through a lot of bad times and some difficult times, but to encounter a gentleman named E. Stanley Jones, and I've never met him. I came across him kind of because I found out that my father had written an essay about him in one of his graduate school papers, and I was curious. And then, of course, I had always felt I didn't like the name Stanley. Stan was okay. When we lived in a town where there were a number of Polish people, and of course, some of you may know that the patron saint of Poland is Saint Stanislaus. And so it just so happened that in that town, finally I found that there were a number of people named Stanley because they were named after Saint Stanislaus. But then I discovered, as one of my Sunday school teachers taught me, he said, hey, I'm going to call you Stash. He says, that's what that's the nickname. That's the affectionate nickname for Stanley. And I've always welcomed that. And in many ways, I go by Stan, but some of the friends who know me, oftentimes, and who know my story, will say, hi, Stash. But E. Stanley Jones, it was E because he didn't like his first name, which was Evelyn, and why a young boy was named Evelyn, who knows? But he went by Stanley, and Stanley Jones. And it turns out that he was a remarkable man who went through some incredible difficulties, but literally, if you look at his story, and he wrote hundreds of articles, many, many books, was a statesman revered throughout the world, and particularly in his work in India, where he was especially a thoughtful and healthy and happy man and achieved a great deal. Known by presidents, known by simple people. And he said that he had learned at an earlier age in life that everything could be useful to him. Love the word useful. And so even today I try and practice that. How can this be useful to me? The car breaks down. How can this be useful to me? Something goes profoundly askew. How can this be useful to me? And so can it be that an attitude of generosity will simply say that things don't happen to us. In some ways, they happen for us. And let's spend a little of time in meditation, thought, and prayer to see if we can discover what the for us is all about. Well, that's my little amen to that wonderful thought. Hey, by the way, you may want to think more about this. In fact, you should take time this weekend. This is only 15 minutes, perhaps to listen to it again. I'm Stan Houston. These are, indeed, things to be thankful for on this day. In everything in life, always close with a benediction. ACB, not ABC. That's always be closing. Always close with a benediction. That's saying something good and graceful and gracious and generous. No matter what, always close with a benediction. You know, as Mr. Spock used to say, live long and prosper. I will wish you the very best for you and your precious family. And that in 23, when things are not going to go very well for many people, that we will find the goodness that might be in the year ahead of us. And even though it might not be a happy new year, we might find that in many, many ways that going through some seas of difficulty and maybe some dark shadows and maybe some hard times, that the universe, the creator of the universe, was good to us. And that in the end, as St. Julian of Norwich would say, we can be thankful because in the end, all will be well. Reach out to me if you'd like to continue the conversation, and if I could be of any help to you, stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com. Be careful, drive safely, treat every person you meet as the most important person in the world, and just see what happens. Bye for now.